Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaDungeon.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. Merry Christmas, everyone, since you know the next mailbag will be after Christmas. Our first question is from Matthew F. Who is your favorite character in the Zelda series and why? Tell me your guys in the comments, but I would probably have to pick the Happy Mask Salesman. I just always thought he was an interesting character, very mysterious, very quirky and creepy. I always enjoyed the odd characters, and he really fits that description. He was a great mystery guy. He very much had that emotion to the game, the mystery of Majora's Mask, and well, he was an Ocarina of Time too, but he was mainly a Majora's Mask character, and he very much, he captured the mystery of that game in the form of a character, and I thought he was great for that. He's also a character I somehow strangely identify with the most. If I were to be in a fantasy world like that, that'd probably be the profession I'd want, the wandering salesman, who goes across different lands and gets items and stuff, and sells them to different people as he travels. That'd be fun. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's just a character I always thought was interesting. Master Sword 427 asks, out of these three characters that follow you around, Navi, Tatl, and Ezlo, which one would you have follow you in real life? I'd like you guys to also tell me this one. I guess don't necessarily feel limited to those three, but I guess pick from those three mainly. As for me, I'd probably pick Navi if I had like a choice, and if there wasn't specific circumstances to save the world that involved one or the other. I guess it's kind of an outlandish question, but I'd probably pick Navi because, frankly, she's the nicest of the three. Ezlo's kind of annoying and rude, but so is Tatl. So, I mean, Tattle's hilarious, but I think in real life she would grate on my nerves horribly. So Navi. Plus, Navi was probably the most useful of the three anyway, even if she was also obnoxious. But I didn't ever find her that obnoxious, so, Kurt Dog 23 asks, what is your favorite item in the Zelda series? Also, what do you think the new items are going to be in Skyward Sword? Do you think we will have a lot of them? My favorite item is the bow. I always got very good at using it, especially in certain 3D titles. Certain other ones, they changed the mechanics and the aiming enough that I actually had a little trouble with aiming them. But I always got very good at switching between first-person aiming and switching between the lock-ons and stuff. And I also was able to pin keys to the wall from across the room in like Ocarina of Time, so that was pretty cool. But I also liked it in 2D titles and stuff. As for Skyward Sword, I obviously can't predict what kinds of new items. It's interesting stuff with a lot of uses, I think, that will take advantage of the Wii Motion Plus. As for how many there will be, I don't think there's going to be a ton, mainly because they need to have complicated controls because of Wii Motion Plus. But be sure to tell me your guys' favorite item. Link is Raw asks, my question is, why is Link's name Link? If they don't mention that name in any Zelda game unless you name your character Link. Link is named that because he is the link between the player and the game world. Now, in recent titles, this is less definite. There's more of Link is his own character, but especially in the early titles, and still somewhat today, Link is intended to be a way for your character, the player, to interact with the game world. He's your character in the game. That's why you could always name him, but when you don't name him, he's named Link for that reason. Now, again, that's changed a little bit as time's gone on, but that's still sort of the base reason. Even the Links who are characters have a certain kind of sort of blank character, not quite, but a little bit, so that anyone can relate. Michael Bagatti asks, the Lokomo Sword hilt is shaped like the crest of the royal family. Do you think we'll get more of an explanation on this fact? Do you think there's more mystery to the sword? The Lokomo Sword I actually have a complaint about because, frankly, it was thrown at you at the end of the game. It barely did anything. It really just let you get through the Tower of Spirits easily. And, there was no explanation. It was just given to you at the end of the dungeon. I really don't think it's something where we can, go and make theories about, because there's just nothing to it. It's just a sword that you just happen to get, I don't think it's anything worthwhile. I didn't notice that about the Hylian crest resemblance. I think, thinking about it now, that it's not really that important. It's just some sort of the angular design or whatever to go along with the train stuff. I think it just fits like the gear feel and stuff like that. I don't know. Mr. Luigi asks, on Zelda Universe it states no one knows if Majora is gone for good. What do you think about Majora returning? Better yet, what do you think Majora turns out to be the last boss in the game, but you don't find out he's even in the game until the very end, giving no further story to its background? There is no way to confirm whether he'll come back or not. That Zelda Universe is right on that account. But the thing is that in the story, the evil is gone from Majora's Mask. Now, that's not to say there aren't ways Majora can return. At the same time, I don't think he's going to, and I don't think he should. Because as I've talked about in the past, Majora's Mask story is sort of self-contained, and it sort of would upset the, I don't know, the nature of it if they just feature anything from it again. And I think that's something about, I don't think even if they put him in a game without explanation, there's no reason to do that. That would just be kind of like what they did with Ganondorf at the end of Twilight Princess. There's no reason to throw in a villain and not do anything with him, So I still stand by my opinion on that one. Bye Bry asks, in regards to the fourth piece of Triforce, I wonder what is your take on it? I was wondering what's your overview on the concept of a fourth piece. Do you like the idea? Do you think it's going a bit overboard to think that there is a fourth piece or not? I really don't believe in the quad force theory, the fourth piece of the Triforce. I know there's a lot of little things, like there's supposed to be a triangle, an extra triangle, upside down triangle or something on the Shadow Temple medallion. There's Dark Link relating to the Shadow Temple. There's the Purple Link in Four Swords, although that story still has a Shadow/Dark Link. So that's not really a way it can connect to Shadow Link. And, there's all these things they talk about, but I really don't think that there's anything to it. After all, it's the Triforce. You can't really, there's nothing there but conjecture. It is an interesting theory sometimes, but it's nothing more than a silly kind of fan fiction theory. There's nothing more to it. I guarantee you'll never, no matter how far they go in Zelda, there'll never be anything to it. It'll just be something that the fans are thinking up. Then again, maybe they'll solidify that and turn that into something real just because the fans are thinking about it, like I, conspiracy theory-wise, think that they did with the split timeline. I don't think that they intended that. But so maybe just because everyone talks about it, they will do it. I don't know. Bellic007 asks, do you think they should make a Master Quest version of every Zelda game? Because they made one for Ocarina of Time to appeal to hardcore gamers. I actually have a bit of an odd thing on this. I think that every game should contain a Master's Quest built in. The original Legend of Zelda had a harder second quest. Now, Wind Waker had a second quest too, but it was mainly just some collection extras, little Easter eggs, and stuff like that. I think that could be combined to it, but I really think that every Zelda game should remain basically kind of accessible to anyone to play. But I think that the second quest should be available in pretty much every Zelda game. And, well, the game would be basically the same, the enemies would be tougher, the dungeons would be remixed, etc. They can have a harder second game to give challenge to, hardcore players. I think it should be Zelda's equivalent of the difficulty level. There's no reason for them to have gotten rid of the second quest, really. Well, that's my opinion, anyway. Master Magath asks, I have beaten Majora's Mask, but in the start it says Link is looking for a friend he lost. Who is this friend he's looking for, or did Nintendo not clarify that? I believe I covered this fairly recently, but it's worth always going over again. They've never clarified it. No, that was probably intentional to keep it as part of the mystery of Majora's Mask. It was a mysterious game. But Navi left Link at the end of Ocarina of Time, so it's reasonable to assume that the friend he's looking for is Navi, especially considering that, well, some people believe that Skull Kid is his friend. He's still looking for his friend, or at least it seems like he is at the end of the game. So it's Navi, pretty much. I mean, it's not stated, but that's really what they intended, I believe. Cody asks, in Majora's Mask, what exactly does the vortex that appears after you beat Twinmold do for Ikana Canyon? It appears to have no effect. It just sits over Ikana and looks like a funnel pointing towards the sky. This has always confused me, and I would like to hear what you think it does. I believe you're talking about the sequence that it shows right after you beat the dungeon and you're outside, and what that basically is it's just some kind of weird energy thing getting rid of the curse of Ikana. There's no real reason for it, explanation of what it is, or anything there. It's the version of Woodfall getting cleaned of its poison, of Snowhead thawing and it becoming spring, of Great Bay's storm disappearing. What was plaguing Ikana was the evil curse, and that's whatever that sequence was, it was supposed to represent the curse going away. Jacob Welch asks, is the ghost ship in Phantom Hourglass supposed to be the same one in the Wind Waker? Definitely not, I think, because the ghost ship in Majora's Mask really was based on ghosts. And in the Phantom Hourglass, it was a ship driven by Bellum to seek out people and, suck the life out of them. It was also, so the ghost ship in the Wind Waker wasn't like that, so I really don't think there's any connection. I think it was a new thing, but obviously based on themes from the Wind Waker. Handheld Gamer 144 asks, assuming that Skyward Sword becomes the Master Sword for presumably the first time in Skyward Sword, will we be able to awaken the Zora and Kokiri from the Earth and Wind Temples from the Wind Waker, or could the sword already be powered by them? Might there be a Fire and Water Sage also in charge of powering the sword, and what species might they be? In the Wind Waker, they added the 2 extra sages as an excuse to have to power up the Master Sword. Now, I don't know where they came from with this, because this is something that feels like they were just trying to make more sages to fill in part of the game. They never really talk about this thing in any of the other games in the series, of having to pray to power the Master Sword. It's a possibility that they were just a representation of the existing sages from Ocarina of Time. Yes, they changed what elements, and they changed the number and stuff, but it might have been their excuse for having the sages and just doing something different with them. As for Skyward Sword, I really don't think so, because the Skyward Sword is going to turn into the Master Sword. I don't think we're going to see the sages. I don't think that they're actually going to do anything more with that notion, I think. Though, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's an interesting notion. Last question. Kevlar95 asks, if Nintendo were to announce an M-rated Zelda game, what would your reaction be? I've always talked about this. I think Zelda should stay family friendly. I mean, tell me what you guys think, but I really would be bothered by if they did that. And I'd probably give it a chance, but, my first reaction would probably be something like, that's it, I'm out. Bye.